Hi, fifth graders. Mrs. Blackburn here today. We're going to look at our learning goals for today's lesson. Students will learn a new way to spell words by making connections to other words. Your success criteria. I was successful if I could use words that I already know how to spell to help me spell some new words. Okay, let's go ahead and begin our lesson. Here's how we're going to make some word connections. We're going to read the word card, make some connections to words that we already know how to spell. We're going to spell the word and then we're going to check the spelling. So again, we're going to read the word card, make connections to words that we already know, spell the word, and then finally check the spelling. Okay, so I have a stack of cards here. And we're just going to go ahead and draw the first card, okay? Let's see what that one is. So the first card that I drew is the card Temptation. So you may not know how to spell this word. And our strategy that we're working on says to make connections to words that you know. So when you hear me say the word temptation, let's start with the beginning of that word. What are some other words that you know that begin with that same sound at the beginning? Temptation, temptation. Well, I know temptation. I know how to spell the word temper. Temper. That's spelled T-E-M-P-E-R, temper, and that sounds like the beginning of temptation. See, what else do I know how to spell? I know how to spell the word tempting, tempting, and that sounds like the beginning of temptation, temptation. I also know how to spell the word temperature. Temperature. I know that from science class. Temperature. Temperature. That sounds like temptation. And finally, I know how to spell the word temple. 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 I knew someone that had the last name of Temple. That's how I know how to spell temple. That sounds like temptation. Now, that's the beginning of the sound of temptation. But what about the end? Temptation. What are some words that I know, or maybe you can think of, that begin with that same ending sound? Temptation. I know nation, and I know how to spell nation. N-A-T-I-O-N. Nation sounds like temptation. What else can we think of? Location. I know how to spell that one. That sounds like the end of temptation. Location. Location sounds like temptation. They make the shun sound, and I know how to spell that. What else do I know how to spell? I know how to spell, how about station? Station. We know how to spell that one. Station sounds like the end of temptation. Temptation, location, nation, those all make that same sound at the end, just like temptation does. And they're all spelled T-I-O-N, T-I-O-N. So I'm thinking that temptation, these all must have T-I-O-N at the end. Temptation must too, because these words all do, and they all have T-I-O-N at the end. They all sound the same. They sound just like temptation. The beginning part, temptation, all has the same sound as temper, and that's T-E-M-P, tempting, temptation. T-E-M-P-T, temperature, temptation, T-E-M-P, T-E-M-P. So I'm thinking T-E-M-P, temp, and I think it must be like this one, tempt, I hear an A, a long A sound in the middle, temptation, so it must be an A. Now, temptation, I hear the shun that I heard in all these words, so the ending part must be that I-O-N. So I'm going to sound this out and break it up and see if that's how it could be spelled. Tempt, temptation. I think it has 3 syllables. Temptation. Now we learned when you're breaking into syllables and you have 2 consonants go together, that's where you split it. Temptation. 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 I think that's correct. So this strategy is where you use other words that you know how to spell to help you spell a new word. Great strategy to use. Let's try another one. See what's next on my stack here. Oh, I forgot the most important part here. Can't forget that. We read the word, we make connections to new words we know, we spell the word, now we have to check. Let's check and see if we were right. Let's check. T-T-E-M-M-P-P-T-T-A-A-T-T-I-O-N. Yes, we were. High five, virtual high five to us. Okay, let's try another word from the stack. Okay, next word is devotion. 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 Okay, let's think of some words that I know how to spell that begin like devotion. Can you think of some? Devotion. What words do you know how to spell? Device. Ah, that's a good one. Device. Okay, device, devotion. How about, what else do we know how to spell? Devote. Good. Devote. Devote sounds like that. Device. Devote. Devotion. What else sounds like devotion at the beginning? Devotion. How about develop? Develop. Develop. Okay. Now we have devotion. There's that shun sound at the beginning. Well, we know nation, location, station. Now we know temptation too, right? What can we think of any others? Lotion sounds like devotion. Even rhymes. Notion, notion, devotion, promotion. Okay, do you think that we can spell devotion now? Devotion. Okay, so it has to begin like device, devote, and develop. Okay, devo. Lotion has a long O, like devo. Notion also has a long O, like devotion. So I'm going to copy these spellings here. Devo. Those are spelled with an O. And the rest of it sounds exactly the same. Devotion, lotion, notion. They even rhyme. So I'm going to use that same spelling. Ocean, ocean, devotion. I'm going to go with that. Okay, now we can't forget the most important part this time, to check it. Does it look the same? D, D, E, E, V, V, O, O, T, T, I, I, O, O, N, N. Yep, virtual high five again. We got it right. Very good. We're going to get so good at spelling this year. Now, what we're going to do is review and to summarize. When we are learning to spell a new word, the strategy that we just learned, we are going to read the word card or read the word, whichever the word is, make a connection to words that you know. What are some kind of connections that we can make? Well, you can look at the beginning sounds. You can look at the beginnings of different words and see if there are other words that you already know how to spell, and try to think of as many words that you can that sound with the same kind of beginning. You can look at the end. Look at the endings. Look at the end of the word and think of all the other words that have the same kind of ending sounds, correct? And then you can also think of other words that rhyme with the word, right? Okay. You can break it into syllables. You can look at long and short vowels, correct? You can try to make connections any way that you can and make a list, and then compare those spellings and see how close you can get. All right, very well done. You will have a follow-up activity to do after this. Don't forget to watch the video, and if you don't do well on the assignment, to go back and look at the video again. I hope you have a wonderful day.